Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll begin here in a few minutes and give everyone a chance to log in. We'll be beginning shortly. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick things off. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the first annual virtual RCA President's Address. My name is Erin Goblish, and on behalf of the Research Chefs Association, I would like to thank you for joining us today. For those of you who submitted your questions in advance, we thank you, and we've done our best to weave those throughout the presentation today. You can also submit your questions to our speakers, Justin and Jessica, using the Q&A function in your Zoom toolbar. We'll make sure that we're answering and addressing those questions at the end of today's webinar. So with that, I will turn it over to your presenters today, RCA President Justin Kantack and Vice President Jessica Goldstein. Take it away.
Thanks, Erin. Hey, everyone out there. First things foremost, yes, I'm wearing these super awesome headphones. It cuts the reverberation from my computer. So please reserve the questions of why I chose those to the very end. But no, just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Once again, Justin Kantack, RCA President, and Jessica, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Goldstein, your RCA Vice President. Justin, I really appreciate you inviting me onto this, and I feel honored that I get to speak with you through Zoom with that headset on. So thank you for that.
Well, you know, it's funny. So Jessica and I have spent a lot of time working together recently, especially considering everything that's going on. And you know, it's a great opportunity to bring Jessica on board to do a very non-traditional President's Address this year. As most of you know, we would be doing this from San Diego last week, but we're not. So we're going to be here doing this remotely from Chicago. And Jessica, you're in New York or?
San Diego.
So here are all the functions of Zoom. Welcome to the new world. You know, thanks to everybody, again, who's joining us. I think my mom's even joining us today. So hi, Mom. No pressure there, I guess. But I just want to thank everyone in the food industry. I know the essential employees piece of our job right now is very challenging. We have a lot of folks who are still working, going in, making sure we have food to serve our country. We have a lot of people who are working from home. We have a lot of displaced workers, but I just want to take a moment. I know, Jessica, you agree with me on this one, that we just want to thank everybody for the hard work they're doing. And yeah, I mean, keep on doing it. If there's anything we can do from the RCA side, let us know. Anything you want to add there, Jessica?
Yeah, I know that we are an international organization and there are hotspots of what's going on with COVID-19. And I just want to remind everyone that, you know, we're out there doing our best. I don't know about all of you, but I live in the middle of New York City and the naval ship is parked right on my street, and living right below Central Park and seeing all the tents all the time, it really hits home for me and my community. And seeing how New York City has banded together to, you know, cheer for all the first responders who are essential workers like each and every one of you, and also for our first responders. It's really important that we maintain that community. So I thank you all for being in the industry and putting your best foot forth every day.
Thanks, Jessica. I mean, it's interesting because these are challenging times like no other. And I know we're all feeling it, and there's a lot of stress in the world about it. You know, it's been challenging for, you know, not just the RCA, obviously, but for everyone personally. You know, some of us have lost friends or family members and all those things. And I don't want to, you know, take a moment. I just want to take a moment to think through all that and understand that there are a lot of people who are going through some struggling times. But right now we're going to focus on what we've done the last year in the RCA, in our own challenging year, and how we're going to manage through that. But we have a lot to share, so figure we should jump into it, huh?
Let's do it.
Okay, Jessica. Well, let's just see. Let's kind of go down the list here. I see kind of what we did last year. We had the opportunity last time to meet in Louisville. So just kind of thinking about that, we had about 1,200, so I think 1,235 attendees in Louisville, and how far we've come since last year's conference, but it was a really great opportunity for everyone to get together and meet. But then from there, we moved on to Napa, and Jessica, you joined us in Napa, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Napa, for all of you who attended or didn't attend, I realized that I don't know how to cook as well as most of you do, which was very humbling for me. But I want you all to know that since quarantine has started, I have been cooking more, and there are several of you who are probably listening to this who have helped me when I asked for meat cooking times or pasta cooking times. So I thank you for that. The best thing about being able to host the event in Napa was we had small groups of people who worked in over 2 days, where they moved from kitchen to kitchen, learned different techniques, got a chance to work hand in hand with other chefs they otherwise wouldn't have, enjoy the beautiful destination of being in Napa Valley, and of course the delicious wines that go along with that. And many of our culinary members earned, I think it was 16 credits. Was that right, Justin?
Yep, it was.
Yeah, so
18 credit hours. 18 credit hours.
credit hours. It's the first time the RCA has ever took the plunge to do an event like this. Our members have been asking year over year, when are we going to do something like this? And now it's, when are we going to do something like this again? So the plan is, yes, we are going to do something like this again. When is the I don't know. But I think that it was nothing short of a greatly successful event.
Absolutely. And, you know, like you said, it was an opportunity for us to do something innovative and different. Historically, we have a tendency to meet as an organization in person at conference, at the annual conference, and then at our regional events. And due to a lot of the efficiencies and a lot of the opportunities we had worked on over the last couple of years, we had some financial opportunities to be able to host another event this year. And, you know, I think Napa is a good example of what we can do when we're really trying to venture out and get more hands-on. You know, the 70 attendees was great. You know, the next one around, we definitely hope for more, but these are the things that we're going to keep on the horizon as ways for us to get together and continue to educate and elevate. You know, I really think about it. These are the innovation opportunities that the organization has. And like anything, the RCA is focused on innovation. That's really what we were founded from, you know, the blending of culinary arts and technology and food technology. So looking at these events, kind of, you know, parlaying that into what we had to do this year regarding RCA Powered Up, you know, it really gives us an opportunity to do things differently. But, you know, kind of looking at what we have going on, you know, regarding conference, I forgot to mention this, for 2019, we were actually recognized on the Next 50 list for Trade Show Executives Fastest 50 Award. So obviously our work's getting noticed. Yep, snaps. So it just shows what happens when we put when we take the opportunity and, you know, we commit to the hard work. We have a tendency to get noticed. So, you know, we hope everyone who joined us in Louisville last year felt that experience. And hopefully, you know, as we'll talk about a little bit later, next year when we get back together.
Well, also during Louisville, what we did was we had that trending today bit. I don't know if you remember all the video cameras everywhere, which was
I do.
Certainly an interesting time for all of us who are not used to being behind the video camera, but it was able to get us a ton of publicity and made the organization relevant and approachable, and I think an integral part of the food supply chain. So I was really proud to work on that project too on behalf of the organization.
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to see the RCA on Fox Business News talking about what culinology does. I thought that was a great way to kind of show the first 23 years of work last year. And yeah, so kind of thinking about some other new things, Jessica, month of giving, you know, this is something, you know, was kind of a brainchild of you and I. So kind of walk us through what happened this year.
Yeah, so I would love to. So giving back has been something that's personally always hit home for me. You know, coming from parents who have built their way up to where they are today, it's important for us to give back. So I've done several events in the past. Also, Susanna Tolini, who represents the New England region, has done a ton of events with the Greater Boston Food Bank. And you know, collectively seeing where opportunities are, having the understanding that we really do need to be giving back better, not just to the companies within our organization or the members that help support the organization, but for everyone who's consuming food. I mean, all of us have a big part in designing food products for people to enjoy and eat and create. So having a chance to give back to our fellow humans was something I was really excited about. So this year we started small because it was a brainchild kind of late in our fiscal year. So we wanted to test the waters with it first and see, you know, what we would come up with. And I would say that we had a handful of successful events after. Well, we chose the month of November, in case you guys don't know, because it's a good time for people to start gearing up for spending time with family and friends and getting ready for the holidays. And so we hosted several food pantry events. There was a teaching kitchen that was happening in South Jersey. Again, for another year, Susanna and the New England Regional Chapter hosted a brilliant event with the Greater Boston Food Bank. And I'm really excited to continue it next year now that we have the entire board behind it and regionals dedicated to bring this to life.
You know, at the core of this was really about doing something for, you know, the world around us and being an organization that is driven by food and a sense of community. These were the opportunities that we felt. One, it was really actually inspired by some of our younger members, our student members who had asked the organization what we're doing to give back. And, you know, Jessica took this from a regional level and started with it. And then had we been meeting in San Diego last week, we had a handful of events scheduled as well, including an event with the Ronald McDonald House, along with Streets of Hope, and then a connection with some military vets in San Diego as well. We're going to continue that into next year. And as our pre-conference workshops, I got to keep watching out to not say where we're going. So I apologize in advance if I screw that up. But really, it's about doing the right thing, you know, getting people who care to give back together to feed people. And I think we can all understand, especially in today's environment, it's really important to have that sense of community and community through food. But kind of kicking into that, regional events last year, Jessica, what'd you have going on?
What did we have going on for regional events? Well, we had in total over 21 regional events where we had an attendee list of over 700. I don't know about you, but those are some incredible numbers for an organization who has locations all over the US and Canada. Some of the highlight events were Lunch and Learn. I know that the Chicagoland region did this awesome foraging event, which I would love to bring to my region and maybe some other regions. I don't know if you remembered the follow-up on that, Justin, but it was...
Ironically, I was in New York during the Chicago foraging event, and then I never made it to your New York events because I was in Chicago. It just happened to be kind of a circumstance of the year.
It always happens like that, but it looked awesome. And we're, you know, collectively trying to do a whole bunch more events next year. More events, more local events, bringing the food to you if we can. So stay connected, stay committed. And if you have any other ideas for regional events that we could be doing, I invite you to let me or your local regional chair know so that we can start working on those.
Well, and the great thing is we'll get more into regionals in a bit, but there's going to be a lot of investment in regionals this year. It's really about kind of taking where we couldn't meet in San Diego and moving those meetings to in person whenever we're able to do that again. Not sure when, but whenever we're available, we're going to start doing it. And but we'll touch on that in a minute. The cool thing we also had this year was a lot of web work. So thinking about how we can communicate, and another inspiration for what led to RCA Powered Up were our webinar series. And just for everyone who doesn't know, we have, as a member, you have access to a large library of webinars for continuing education or personal development, hundreds of videos. So think about that, hundreds from past conferences and streamed webinars. But this last year, we had 7 webinars. Our highest attended one was developing with plant-based protein for success. Obviously, that's not too surprising considering the state of the food industry right now. Plant-based protein's the hot thing. And we wanted to thank the Almond Board of California who sponsored that. So yeah, take the opportunity, as if you're a member, to go to the Learning Library and check out anything that you have available as content. And yeah, it's another way for... Oh, sorry, go on, Jessica.
Sorry. The other thing we're trying to do now that, you know, the whole business platform is becoming more virtual is bringing whatever we can to you guys. So sort of leaning into why we switched over to Powered Up is because we want to be able to make this information accessible. You know, nothing about food and food safety should be invisible to the culinary leaders in our association. So the more we can figure out new technologies and leverage the information that all of our brilliant members have, the more we want to bring that to you also.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the importance of continuing to learn even when you can't be together. You know, for 24 years, we really taught our members through meeting in person at conference and through our regions. And, you know, we've had, you know, a focus on our webinars, but now we're going to do a lot more investment in that as well, just because kind of the nature of the world we're in, we need to keep learning and sharing. So look at RCA and culinology to do that. So.
Yeah. So Justin, you know, generally when the president delivers their president's address, we usually offer our members an update of what we've done over the past year. So I'm going to ask you, since you're deeply involved with the membership community, tell us about what membership has been doing.
Yeah, I mean, in the committees as a whole have been really busy, and they're going to be busy this year again. I just want to take the opportunity to kind of outline a couple changes. We are in the middle of our board transition, so I want to thank Eric Chica and Susan Edwards and Noah Michaels and Paul Rockwell and Michael Chang for their work. As we're moving into these next round of committees, we've got a new board that's coming in behind us. That's Jerry Bouchard, Andrew Schutz, Kyle Stewart, Jeff Crace, and Robert Danhigh. So yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of addressing with those folks through here as well. But when it comes to membership, this is what the lifeblood of the organization is. Last year, when we wrapped up our year, we had 1,940 members, which is one of the highest numbers we've ever had, and we're hoping to continue that growth into this year. But really, it's about getting people involved and being an organization that is financially led by its members, where we take the money we're given through our memberships and through our events, and we give that back to our members and services. It's really important to have that strong member base because it brings more people together. It brings more pooling of information and more pooling of resources to share. When I look at our membership, what makes me most proud about our organization is of those 1,940 members, 300 of them, just over 300 of them are student members, which, is a testament to a lot of work. We have these great culinology programs. We have a lot of students out there who are not just focusing on culinary or food science these days, but they really want to get into the product development side of things. And being able to attract young members is what's going to help us in the future and really drive the longevity of the organization. But, it's not going to be an easy year. So I'm not going to be shy about that. But I think this is the right year to be committed as a member, to show that we can do things differently and we can continue to forward the organization.
Well, we are, an individual member organization. We aren't, a trade organization. So, the more we can tap into our resources, which are, intellectual property, essentially, the more we can learn and discover from each other, which, as culinologists is the true form of the definition that we are. We make food, and we make interesting food, and we make safe and delicious food. So how do we keep building on that?
Absolutely. And so I'm going to kind of pivot back to you. So you're thinking about regionals. Jessica's going to lead our regional work this year along with Jeff Crace. So what's on deck, Jessica?
Well, I'm really excited to take over regionals. I have been the regional chair since, I think it's been about 9 years since I've been the New York Metro Regional Chair. It was right after we split off from New England. And I got a ton of ideas. I think between, Jeff, who's got 4 years of experience being a regional chair, and the staff that we have who've already created an amazing toolkit, we're going to work on doing more turnkey events. So for those of you who are able to join in one of the 4 Hot Sauce 101s that we had last year with Southeastern Mills, we're looking to do more of those type of events. Again, we'd love to tap into our member base. You guys are absolutely experts in your own fields. And if you're interested in being part of this, sharing your experiences, your education with the rest of our members, we can either host a webinar or we can do, when the world opens up again, move this from city to city if we can. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited to put more events together that might be digital events, because we don't really know how the rest of this year is shaping up. We don't know how this is going to affect the local food communities and business communities as a whole. So, similar to what everyone else is saying, we're taking it day by day, and we have a lot of really good ideas flowing, whether they're cocktail hours via Zoom. I know I've had several of them already, or other ways that we can do tastings or sharing education, or even host a virtual webinar so that people all over the US and Canada can be part of them. Also, we're going to do more events that can offer CE points. We know a lot of you are, desperate to get some points sometimes, and we want to bring this closer to you and make this more attainable. Again, you can go back to the learning library. That's helpful. And also, the more webinars we can put together, the better we can record them and share them out to the community. And I think that's mostly what we have so far, because it's just the beginning. It's not even our next year yet. It's kind of hard to say, but I am working with staff and the rest of our team to really flesh out this. And offer a toolkit that, we can really support volunteers. The more volunteers we have, the more awesome things we could do, and really, stay connected with each other. I think that's what we need to do for now.
Absolutely. And, what makes me most excited is we have some really strong regional chairs now. And,
Right.
thinking of the work that John Draz is doing in Chicago and that you and Rose are doing on the East Coast, the team up in Toronto, I get a lot of emails from those guys as well. Everyone's itching to get events on the calendar, and, it's a drag that we're kind of in the environment, but, like you said, we're going to get more creative and we're going to figure out ways to keep people connected. So when we can get together, we'll kind of hit the ground running. So thank you guys, in advance for the regional stuff. And I'm looking forward to being able to attend those this year.
It's funny, when we just hosted our event with Southeastern Mills and Drexel University, a bunch of their students actually reached out to me and asked what they could do to get involved. And right before this started happening, I actually had a team of Drexel students that I was working with to actually bring a regional event together. And it was incredible because this is the first time I really ever had a student-led event happen before, and I'm really excited to pick that up again. And I think that segues nicely into, Justin, your experiences, because you were a student member before you were a professional member. So if you don't mind updating us on the students, I think that would be welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, let's see, I joined the organization, I think in 2005, so it's been 15 years. I think the first RCA member I ever met was Ann Druschitz. That was here at an event in Chicago, the Midwest Food Processors Convention. It seems like it's been a few years, but, for me, becoming president last year, it was a long journey. I mean, from students when, we hadn't even graduated the first culinology student yet. So to think about that, that didn't come for another 2 years. And, looking at these 300 members and how do we engage students in a way that makes them feel part of the community, but also allows them to interact and develop themselves in an organization that's still kind of growing and developing. So I look at those the 300 students out there. Hopefully some of you guys are listening. I hope your instructors are listening. I don't doubt they are. So hi, everyone. You guys really are critical to everything we do. And I speak to that from the heart, being a student member, knowing that it was the people I met early on who became mentors and advisors and recommendations for jobs, and coaches that during this year, working with Kyle Stewart, who will be taking on as our chair for the student committee, or at least the lead for that from the board side of things. We really want to kind of maintain that energy and see what we can do to level it up. I know Jamie Mestan had done a lot of work this last year, but I think Kyle is going to be able to take Jamie's work, and being a just recent graduate, I think within the last 4 years, kind of bringing the energy of things that he found was important to the organization, and bringing those to students and helping to continue to grow those things. So, and if anyone out there wants to be a mentor, by all means, we're developing a program around that as well. So hopefully you're letting staff know, or letting anyone who's in the leadership roles at the RCA know that you want to become a mentor. We would openly welcome that, because we have 300 students who would like some coaches. So.
Well, that's incredible, Justin. And I think what we're doing, engaging students better is something, it's time. They are our future. I remember how challenging it was, even though I didn't study in my undergraduate life before I realized that the food industry is where I actually belonged. How important it is to stay connected with your professional world. And if we could just do a little bit as leaders as an organization, or professional members who have had the experience, let's share some of whatever knowledge is today with some people who are going to need it in the future.
Absolutely.
So if I can segue to this, since this is really your forte, because I am not a CCS or a CRC, but tell me about education and what we're doing for the education groups.
So yeah, education is kind of the center of everything we're doing these days. And there's a very critical reason. With the cancellation, with canceling conference back about a month ago, I spent a lot of time, and I know Chip Potter, our executive director, can attest to this, about thinking about what it is that we can continue to do to create value for our members in a time we couldn't meet. And at the core of conference, when we decided to cancel, and well, actually, we didn't really decide. The world kind of decided for us. Right. We had to figure out a way to continue to embrace the situation. And I understand that the connectivity piece of conference is something we can't replace. Jessica, I know you and I have spent a lot of time talking over Zoom and via email and via text. So it's not quite when we get to meet in person, but, at the core of everything we do is that connectivity piece and the education piece. And just because we had a stop conference didn't mean we had to stop educating. And so this year, leading to RCA Powered Up, has been kind of that, brainchild of what can we do with what we have. Over the last 12 months, we spend a significant amount of time planning conference, and we had 16 speakers raise their hand to come speak with us about things that they're experts on. But we didn't want to lose that, so we took that opportunity and said, what can we do to virtualize it? And I think anyone can attest, whether it's from our staff or from any of the leadership team, trying to take a conference and pivoting to an online system that you've never done before in 3 weeks is not a minor undertaking. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and a little bit of tears about what we couldn't do.
We promised we wouldn't talk about that, though.
Yeah, you're right. No tears. There's no crying in culinology. Exactly. So it's all good. But what's actually more amazing is when we started the idea of pivoting to an online format, we were hoping that some of our speakers would really embrace this. We really didn't know. We had never asked before, but we knew webinars worked, and we knew that there was something we could do. So when we started reaching out to our speakers, everybody was on board. And that was something that was overwhelming to me. And beyond that, it was even speakers that we had reached out to who were unable to connect and speak, along with other members of the organization who've been interested. And, at the core of Powered Up, we were hoping to get the 16 continuing education credit hours. As you had mentioned, these are important for our certified members, our CRCs and CCSs. But we're actually going to be able to span it to at least 20. And if things go a little bit better, we may be able to get that up to 25 or 26 CE hours that you can do by committing to RCA Powered Up. And, being able to offer a live version session to join, and then knowing that those sessions will go into the learning library for those who register and attend, it really gives people an opportunity to kind of invest their time when things are a little bit fluid, as they need to continue to do personal development. It's also really cost effective. Being able to get conference for like $275, I think, is really a deal. We know that we still can't meet in person, but I'm here in my basement, and Jessica, you're in your office, so it's kind of the world we're living in. Hence the reason, I've got my COVID work outfit on as well.
I can't really see
it says more snacks, and for those who are into the science piece, these are really the periodic tables. So we got potassium here. So.
Well, thank you. Everyone needs some salt, right? Once in a while.
It's
more sugar
good.
Sometimes.
More sugar too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So nope. Go on, Jessica. Sorry.
Well, just the fact that you can actually go back to all these webinars after they've been live is going to be tremendous. If, of course you have other things planned throughout your day, but over the course of the several weeks we'll be hosting Powered Up, any of our attendees will have an opportunity to go back, share with their team, and revisit any of the webinars they were really excited about or that they haven't missed.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're going to be able to summarize this on May 13th when we kick off Powered Up. For anyone who's registered, by all means, join that session. We'll be able to talk more about our speakers. It'll be a pretty close to final agenda by then. But anyone who doesn't get registered by then, you can register at any point in time during the Powered Up run, and you'll get the sessions live that are going forward. You'll also get the same price for all the stuff you've missed that'll be going onto the learning library within the week after the session posts. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about this. Like, when you move this fast, it's amazing how much information you have to communicate. But in a world that's very noisy right now, we're trying to be very particular about what we communicate and when. So worst comes to worst, by all means, if you have questions, email our RCA address. I know that I'll be getting posted up here to send some questions to. By all means, reach out. We may have missed something. I hope we didn't. But if we did, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, absolutely. And then since we're just talking about education, why don't we segue into certifications? Can you tell me, give me an update on how we did in the last fiscal on education? Certification has been a big driver for us, which has been really rewarding. We're seeing more recommendations or requirements on job postings for CRCs and CCSs, which is really great that after 24 years, we're really kind of starting to stick the clutch on those things. And,
being somebody who is my CRC and my CCS, getting CE hours is really critical. And one of the biggest pushbacks we get from our certified members is, how do I get the significant amount of hours required to do this work? And, you know, we have some online information, we have the conference, we have the regionals, but that's, again, why RCA Powered Up has kind of shifted the way it's been, is we want to make sure that we're giving people the opportunity to get their CE hours and continue to get developed. And for anyone who's kind of been in the queue or in the hopper, you know, I'm going to ask you the question, what are you waiting for? I mean, always hear, I don't have time to study. I hope you got some time to study now. I know I'm still going through school. I'm working on my MBA, so I got plenty of time to study and work, but it's all about continuous improvement and continuous development. And we're hoping that certification this year will allow us to kind of reevaluate some ways that we're allowing people to get onto the pathway to certification. We're looking at some new platforms for allowing people to get into the mix for certification. And Robert Danhai and Daryl Holliday from on our education side will be able to kind of lead that this year and kind of bring some new thoughts. Noah Michaels did a great job this last couple of years kind of standardizing our exam, taking that digital. And so we're kind of looking to springboard that work and getting more people into the queue. So, you know, once again, what are you waiting for?
A couple at one of our last board meetings that we had all together, we had a team of volunteers who helped write a whole bunch of questions too. What are they called? See, I don't take these tests, so I'm not intimate in the knowledge of what I should be, but I guess they were training tests, guy, multiple.
So what they were doing is, our old exam had a ratio of questions and a test bank that was associated to it, but we really wanted to evolve the test into kind of a new mixture focusing on more product development centric questions. So we had a group of people writing questions for that test bank, along with some open discussions about what would people who are looking to get certified need. So whether it's a framework of kind of how to study or practice tests or things like that, all those things are in the mix. We're not unaware that we need to develop them, but it's like anything, it takes a little bit of time, and we want to make sure we have the best tools possible for our members. So those are other things that'll be getting worked on this year. So Robert Danhai, so you have messages out there, you can put that on the to-do list of things to do. So
excellent.
So Jessica, this kind of brings it to you. What's going on with marketing this year? This is kind of your bread and butter. So
yes, this is my bread and butter. And well, it's been for those of you who don't know, I have been leading the marketing and content and editorial for the past 2 years, which has been excellent, except being a marketing professional, because that is my background, which is not food science or culinary arts. So
but equally important, absolutely equally
exactly
important.
I tell people that all the time, whether they believe me or not. I just tell them. But living and breathing the marketing space, I understand how necessary it is to connect our brand identity with all of our core values as an association and make sure that everything that we're doing underneath that umbrella follows suit. Because of that, and because we are an international organization and there are different guidelines that we need to follow, and there's a lot of things that volunteers and even board members wouldn't be able to do. I thought it was best, with the okay by the rest of the board of directors, to shift the marketing and content committee to more of a brand oversight committee. And I'm really excited that Jerry Bouchard, who is with Taste Point IFF, is back on the board soon or now.
I think as a Thursday, I think she's official.
That's right. So officially, Jerry Bouchard is going to be taking over, who also has a marketing and brand content background. So I'm really excited to hand this off to her. She's going to be leading teams of her own to make sure that all the marketing and content that we're putting out there on behalf of the Research Chefs Association and on behalf of culinology and all that encompasses is part of our brand identity and strategy. You know, culinologist isn't a name that's known by everybody, but it's our job to educate people on what it is that we actually do. And I believe that now more than ever, the true definition of culinologist is what people really want to understand. You know, with technology at our fingertips and the ability to learn on the fly with, you know, technologies like Udemy or even Zoom, we have the chance to literally figure out whatever we want to at our fingertips. So as a professional organization who fosters most of the members that fall in that category, you know, why not build this up even more? As you know, Rose Trout and I have been on a couple segments for Epicurious that's doing exactly that. They're blending the food scientists with culinary arts and showing how important it is that important food science is when you're making something for consumers or scalability or whatever it is you might be doing.
And if you've not had a chance to watch these videos, it's worth a while. So it's a very interesting thing. Jessica called me about it, I don't know, about a year ago, like, hey, there's this thing and I kind of want to do this. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but go do it. And it's been great. So
it's called 4 Levels. So if you want to check it out on YouTube in your copious amount of spare time, Rose is amazing. And I don't even have even close the level of intellect that she has to share across her audience. I mean, she's absolutely amazing. So follow Rose, 4 Levels, Epicurious.
And for those who don't know Rose is on our board. She comes to us from Drexel University, and she was in the last culinology magazine. There was a big Dr. Rose. She got her doctorate the last year. So I hope she's listening. I hope she's slightly embarrassed by this, but we're definitely going to tout you right now. Yep. If you really want to read a little bit more about her, snaps, go to the last culinology magazine. There was a huge section on Rose and the great things she's doing, and we're very lucky to have her on the board.
Yeah, I believe that was our December issue of culinology, if I
correct.
I only read through those 1,000 times before they go to print. So
well, and that actually kind of leads into something, with 43,000 people reached through Culinology magazine. That's kind of what kind of led to this centricity, like bringing everything in marketing together. When I talked to Jerry after she got elected back in January, knowing Jerry's expertise and her history on the board, along with the conversations we've had, we felt it was really important to be able to kind of unify all of our messages. And for anyone who's been on some of our committees, there's a lot of fractionization between how our committees are connected. So we're hoping to kind of shorten that chain and get a lot more consistent messaging. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you and Jerry come forward with that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And then also don't forget that, the members only page of RCA Connect, we have forums, we have there's an ISO sourcing group, there's a questions forum, I think there's even a travel forum, which is probably on hold right now, but where
you can think of all the places we want to go.
Well, I have my list still, so I'm ready when they open up the gates again. But again, there's a lot of things happening. The last month and a half or so has kind of shaken up the way we have to look at things. So, we need to take things every day and, make the best decisions for the association, and while still providing value to all of our dedicated and passionate members. So that said, Justin, I'm going to introduce Mr. Justin Kanthak, who's going to speak through our President's Award.
Yep. So, the other thing about conferences, there's a lot of things we do to recognize people while we're together, and we're trying to figure out new and unique ways to do this, knowing that our messages and time together is a little bit more spread apart this year. So just giving everyone a heads up, today we're going to be sharing the President's Award, and then the Lifetime Achievement Award will be on April 29th, which is the annual business meeting. Just remind you, everybody, unlike this call, the annual business meeting is for members only. So sorry for those who are out there who are joining us today who are not members. If you go join, by all means, you're more than welcome to join us then. The Pioneer Award will be on Wednesday, May 13th. That is the RCA Powered Up kickoff. And then our Student Awards will be going out intermittently through Powered Up during the keynote sessions. So any of your keynotes, we'll be reaching out to you directly about how to kind of pitch those as part of our conversation. But I guess this is where I do the drum roll thing, right? Or the snaps? I don't know. Is it up there, Aaron? I can't see anything, so I'm kind of at the mercy of stuff. But oh, duh, we haven't gotten there yet. So we've actually jumped ahead one. So now we're actually gonna go backwards. The good news is, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move things around. That's all about the fun part about this. We're going to Atlanta. Jessica, we're going to Atlanta. We're going. We'll let you do your piece. We shifted up the notes here, so it's all good. Jessica, tell us about Atlanta before we do the President's Award. We're going to hold everyone on just a little bit longer. We're going to make the anticipation build.
Well, that's good because that's all we need these days, right? So we are heading back to Atlanta to celebrate our 25th year as an association, which I'm personally super excited about because Atlanta was actually my first conference at RCA. And I remember walking into a room with seeing a whole bunch of people that I've never seen before. And here I am sitting next to Justin delivering a president's address. So, you know, similar to echo what Justin said, I'm really excited to go back to our roots where this association all began. With the design team that I worked with, we wanted to go retro and fun and bring lots of fun colors. And the fact that our conference will begin on the 25th of March, our marketing team has a ton of fun ideas and surprises to put in throughout the entire conference. So again, if anyone has any exciting things that they want to share with us or awesome ideas that we could do in Atlanta, feel free to let us know. So I guess, Justin, I'm going to shift back to you.
Yep.
For the President's Award.
And for Atlanta, we're going to have Jamie Mestan and Nick Landry and Cami Smith working on that conference. So I'm excited for that. As we know, Cami is down in the South, so she's going to bring a lot of Southern hospitality to everything. So we're looking forward to it. Yep. Once again, coming back to the President's Award. Note, this is the 2018 logo. All of our awards right now are locked up in RCA headquarters due to shelter in place. We can't get to them. So that's kind of the irony of it. But this year's award winner is Dr. Chong Lee Chu from Taylor's University. So we're going to snaps again. Jessica, we're going to do that. And yes, Robert Danhai, this is a way to do exciting hand claps, but without the noise of hand claps. So I see your comment over here. But Dr. Chu, she's a real inspiration to us. And when I took the opportunity to think about the members who were really driving us forward this year, Dr. Chong really inspires us through her work at Taylor's University in Malaysia. And they won an award this last year for the best innovative program in Malaysia. That's a huge award for them. Their members, they have 100% employment rate of their members as they come out of graduation, which is really amazing. I mean, when you think about it, of the 210 students they've had since they started the program in 2011, they've had 131 graduates. They have 80 currently enrolled. It's our largest culinology program. So I think of all this work, and they've been quietly doing this kind of in the background on the other side of the world. So I wanted to take this opportunity to thank her and thank the Taylor's team for everything they're doing. They're setting up a food innovation center. Hopefully, if we can get past this whole COVID thing, we're really looking at what we can do from an event over on the other side of the world as well, which is really great and really exciting. And I just want to thank everyone over there for their hard work and Dr. Chong's work as well, because she really has been the inspiration behind that. And I've gotten to know her and the team over there as well a little bit more recently. So yeah, thank you. Congratulations again. We'll be sending you your award here sometime in the future. But thank you again for everything you do. I don't doubt that everyone's going to be excited to reach out to you and congratulate you for that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more well-deserved. So, and excellent on the delivery.
So yeah, I mean, that now that I jumped the gun a little bit on Atlanta, as a president, you're trying to give your address, you have pages of notes with all of your scribbles on them. Really, it's going to come back to questions. I know that we have a couple questions hopefully coming through. We're going to try to see if we can address any of those. So I'm going to look to the staff to help support that.
Yeah. So someone has asked, when will the official announcement of the new board chair positions be coming out?
So everything will be coming out at the end of next week. So the EC elections are in process. So those are all the kind of the details that will be ironed out through our next split RCA board meeting. Normally our board meetings the Monday of conference week. Since we didn't have conference, we split it up last week, part this week, all virtual. So we'll be having those announcements coming out the following week. So a little bit more time, about 7 days.
All right. If you do have a question, feel free to type that in. We'll give everyone a couple seconds here if you are submitting any further questions for Jessica or Justin.
So Jessica, while we're waiting for some questions, what have you been doing during your shelter in place time?
Justin, well, you know me. I have been doing a lot of arts and crafts.
Okay.
I've been getting my hand at some new things. So I started this thing recently. It's called quilling. It's actually an art form that people do a lot in Russia. So check this out. This is what I've done so far. It's like It's
See,
new.
this is how
It's
Jessica
growing.
fills her time. I listen to music, so
Well, the other thing that I've been doing, you're probably going to be pretty impressed with this. I've been painting by number. So this is my most recent creation.
she painted this. I want everyone to know that this has been painted, and we're going to put this in the foundation auction next year. I'm not even joking. This is like, she sends me a text message of this, and this actually gets to the foundation piece, which I want to bring up about what is a kind of an amazing thing. And, you know, Jessica kind of has artwork follow her wherever you go. And Jessica, if you want to talk about what your uncle did for the foundation this year.
Yes. I'm super bummed that we couldn't do this live, but my uncle is a glass blower out in San Diego, and he actually designed a piece for us that we can auction off to for the Culinology Education Foundation. It's this gorgeous bowl. It's like this swirly bowl thing. And it looks like a seashell, and it really taps into all the colors that we've had as part of our logo. And I don't know, I really think it embodies us thinking about being in San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting with the silent auction this year. So we have our bidding for good, which is live.
Right.
That helps our all of our scholarships and helps our students be able to get a little bit more funding that goes towards their education, specifically the Legacy Scholarship. Which is really exciting. I think we have 20 items up there. We have an autographed copy of Modernist Baking from Francisco Magoya, who will be talking at RCA Powered Up. We have a really cool cutting board, embossed RCA cutting board. We have a knife. We have an immersion circulator. We have all kinds of stuff on bidding for good. And, you know, as part of this presentation, we'll send out the link to everyone so you can kind of jump in. I know the RCA board's been bidding quickly on a few things. I've been outbid at least a half dozen times, but I want to thank everyone who had provided items for that as well. So yeah, Erin, do you have any new questions coming in?
We do. Now that we gave everyone a little bit of time, we had a few questions come in. The first question is, how is the loss of the annual meeting and Expo affecting RCA's financial position?
Ooh, that's a big question. Well, the good news is I'm not going to directly address that today because we're working on the reviewing the financials as we stand right now. But at the annual business meeting, we'll have more of a summation for that. I'm not going to spoil it for everyone. It's not a great year. As one you can expect, we're an organization that lives on our conference. So it's going to be challenging, but that also kind of plays into the importance of RCA Powered Up and the work that we're going to do in the regions this year. So thank you to everybody who's stuck with us through this, but it's going to be a challenging year and we're going to need a lot of support from our members. So Jessica, anything you want to add to that?
Not really. I think you covered it. I mean, I know we're going to touch a lot more when the annual business meeting happens, and we're still trying to put everything together so we can speak most knowledgeably and answer your questions more thoroughly.
And we'll have Jamie Mastan there. We can put the treasurer on the spot. You know, she'll have this all buttoned up. So I know, I know. I don't doubt Jamie's on here right now, and she's feverishly taking notes. So,
Yep, I have another question that came in. It might be a little off topic, but I think we're all interested. Who would win in a back alley fight, Ant-Man or Batman?
Batman.
All right, well, we have Batman apparently from the New Yorker. I think Batman lives in Chicago, but Superman lives in New York. I don't know. Someone's going to have to, I'm going to get lambasted on the internet about this.
City was supposed to be Manhattan, but you know.
I don't know. Either way, I'm an Ant-Man guy. So I live in the Marvel universe. But thank you for obviously the dynamic question there that kept me on my toes.
I have another one here. Where can RCA members provide the greatest assist during this time?
Ooh. First, make sure your membership's renewed. We're going to start simple. You'd be amazed how often our members think they're registered and they're not. A lot of it ties back to conference. And then raise your hand. If you want to get involved, find a place that you're passionate, come forward, say I'm passionate about students, mentorship, conference planning, something like that. And yeah, I mean, really it starts with raising your hand and understanding that you want to be a partner. If you guys want to sponsor next year at conference, that's great as well. We were on record pace this year for Expo, and sadly, we don't get to have that this year. So, yeah, I mean, any of these places, but yeah, it starts with raising your hand.
Or being voluntold, right?
Or voluntold. I've been voluntold. Jessica's been voluntold to be here today, so I think that's what she's alluding to.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm alluding to.
Aaron, anything
Okay,
else?
one more. What initiatives is RCA promoting this year that are in direct response to COVID-19 and its direct impact on our industry?
That's a tricky question right now. We're reviewing a lot of things. It starts with Powered Up, and that's more specific to the members, but we're doing a Dine Out week. I know we're going to have more information about that as well coming out. And we're looking at ways to get involved in the community. And a lot of this comes back to the Day of Giving piece. If and when we're able to get back and start meeting in person, Jessica, I don't doubt you would take this opportunity to kind of make a plug for Day of Giving, even if it has to be in July or August.
Sure.
Any thoughts on that? Or should we just reach out to you if somebody has a great idea?
I mean, you could also reach out to me, but I think we're trying to get a panelist for one of our segments on Powered Up. Is that true still?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an opportunity right now. So.
And just sharing whatever education that we can with everyone else, as information comes available to us, it's been very important to us to share it amongst our community. So if there's different ways that we could be doing that better or differently, or if anybody else has ideas, I mean, we are a community of thinkers, so I welcome anyone's ideas. And if I can help bring them to life, then I am 100% in.
Absolutely. Great.
Another question. How do you think the coronavirus will shape the future of RCA?
Well, that's an interesting question. How will coronavirus shape everything? It's forcing us to learn, like anything. I think everybody who's on this call and anyone, right now who's watching the world is everything's changing really quickly. And we're trying to assess what we can do to continue to keep our members engaged and keep our members learning. And right now, whether it's coronavirus or anything in such a situation, and for some members, remember Zika, which seems many, many, many years ago, we had concerns about conference and executing there. But really, it's about how can we just better service our members, period. If we can't meet in person, what can we do? You create RCA Powered Up. When we can meet in person, if it's not till national conference next year, let's do more in the regionals. For me, that's really about where the connectivity comes back together is understanding what we can do through the spirit of culinology. And, coronavirus isn't going to stop us. Yeah, maybe it's putting me in my basement today and it's putting Jessica in her office, but all it's going to do is force us to evolve.
Well said, Jessica.
Great. Another question here just came in. Is the RCA doing anything for coronavirus/COVID-19 assistance to the restaurant industry?
We are. In fact, I want to say next week or tomorrow, we're having I know it's a Tuesday, we're having an RCA sponsored give back. I don't know how to articulate this as well, but it's the hashtag takeout. I'm so bad with the social media stuff.
Either way, I know what Jessica's talking about. This is part of our dine out thing. We're going to do a lot more pushes around getting people out and eating and taking photographs. Hashtag takeout with RCA. Being able to let our members go out, show people where they're eating, show where they're connecting, where they're giving back to their communities. And I recommend anybody who's on this call who's not even an RCA member, by all means, take that hashtag and do something with it, because the food industry and the restaurant industry around us is the backbone of what keeps people employed. Right. I came through the restaurant industry and I can't imagine being displaced. I'm still trying to support my local restaurants. Jessica, I don't doubt that's the same for New York City right now, a hub that's very rich in restaurant culture. Same thing for Chicago. So once we make that announcement, by all means, everybody, we want you to use the hashtag, take photographs, share it on Instagram, whatever you can do to do your little piece. We're not a big organization, but we can have the impact where we can.
Yep, similar to you, Justin, I got my start. I got through college by working as a waitress and a bartender. So, just thinking back, the 10 years ago when I was still doing this, I couldn't imagine not being able to continue my education and work simultaneously by, putting myself through college. So my heart goes out to everyone who, is living through this and is an essential worker in the restaurant industry. So anything that we can do to help.
Great. You touched on this one originally a little bit relating to the certification exam questions. Someone asked that they're working towards their RCA certification as a CRC, and that's a certified research chef. My question is, why doesn't the RCA provide practice tests like IFT does for their certifications? Is this something that we can consider?
So it's on deck.
To help us prepare.
It's on deck. We're absolutely looking into it. What we did is we pivoted more the exam the last 2 years and really focused the content on what's more relevant to the product developers. So what we want to do is we got the exam out there. We started loading the questions. It kicked off last year in Louisville, and now we're getting feedback on the questions. So we want to see what's really sticking with our members, where we need to continue to drive our members to study and prepare for the exam. And once we have more of that data, like anything, we're in science, we can focus on creating better content to help people prepare. So it's kind of one thing into the next thing. I know you kind of want to roll it all out at once, but that's the background.
Great.
All right. Well, that takes us through the end of our questions that we've received so far.
Sure.
Any closing words, Jessica or Justin?
Sure. I mean, just a little bit of housekeeping. The annual business meeting's coming up next Wednesday, April 29th at 1 p.m. So please sign in for that if you want to hear more about the financials, along with the Lifetime Achievement Award, which will be announced then. And, in general, if you're getting registered and you got the time, get signed up for RCA Powered Up. It's a lot of quick work, but it's a lot of great work. The website looks great. You can find all the speakers there. Really, for me, it really comes down to our members are really what drives the industry. And I firmly believe that culinology is what drives creativity in the food industry now. So being able to take a pivot like leaving conference and bringing us to other avenues for communication, it really shows that our organization is innovative. It shows that we live and breathe our passion for innovation. And truthfully, 24 years ago, mind you, Atlanta is our 25th anniversary. So everyone get excited and make sure that's on your calendar. This is really about living our values. So I had a couple questions about why Powered Up. It really is continue to drive our mission and our values. So
when faced with adversity, we find other avenues.
Yep.
And, when forced to innovate, we do what we need to. And, we like getting creative and playing with people's food. So why not do it digitally, right?
Right. And if anyone has had that opportunity, we're really one of the leaders right now in going to a virtual conference. So that's something to be very proud of. It's something I'm proud of. It led a lot of sleepless nights for the board. So make sure you're joining. And kind of last thing I want to wrap up with is I want to thank our sponsors. We couldn't do this without them. They're the ones who are really keeping us going without conference is kind of our center point. So that would be ADM and Dr. G's, Dairy Fair, IDF, IFF, Ingredion, Newlyweds, South Bend, Miniat, Flavor Dynamics, Florida Food Products, Fuchs, Griffith Foods and Tarova, Park 100 and Schumann Cheese and Well Built. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your commitments. Thank you for what you've done. But yeah, Jessica, any other thoughts? Anything you want to wrap up with?
I just want to thank everyone for joining us today and listening to Justin and I give a president's address, presidents and vice presidents this year. And really thank you for allowing us to stay connected with you. And if there's anything that we can do to support you or your region or your members or anything that you're looking to do as we come into the new year, please feel free to stay connected with us. I know I'd love to hear from you and learn from you too. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if anyone wants to get involved, by all means, raise your hand, reach out to the RCA email address that'll be coming out as kind of part of the follow-up from this. And for any of our members who are displaced, anyone who is unable to join due to being unemployed, by all means, reach out to us as well. We have some avenues as well to support you during these times. So please take advantage of that. And thanks, everybody. So we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.